In the last video, I talked about how to draw a pencil outline for fruit and vegetables, and I focused on my beautiful yam bean here. In this video, I'll talk about the next step for ink drawings, and that is how to make an ink outline of the pencil outline that's just been completed. So for this ink outline, I've actually chosen a bitter melon vine to show how the next stage is done. And the reason I've done that is because this bitter melon vine, well, on top of being very conveniently able to be traced, so you're not really missing out anything on how I did the pencil outline because this is pretty self-explanatory. It's a really good exercise in how to do an ink outline while thinking about things such as negative space. To be perfectly honest, I love doing ink art, but I'm so scared of making mistakes, and that's why it's so great to be able to do the first draft with pencil, because you can erase any pencil marks that you've got. But when it comes to doing things in ink, it's going to stay, so you want to be a little bit strategic about how you do things. So right here, we've got this bitter melon vine, which I flattened out and then traced to make this pencil outline. And now I'll move that to the side because I'm going to go over this pencil outline with ink. And now I'll start thinking about how I really want this drawing to be. And as you can see, I've sometimes left multiple lines where I'm a little bit unsure about where the form is. But now with ink, I'll be able to choose the line I actually want to stick with. And to be a little bit safe, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to start with the topmost object, and that is this leaf here, because that takes precedence over anything underneath it. And I'm also going to think about these little lines here. When I do this final ink drawing, everything is going to be black. It's going to be colored in. But how am I going to show these little lines here? And how am I going to show that this leaf is on top of this vine and on top of this second leaf? And the answer is just start with what's on top and then work yourself down underneath that. So first what I'll do is I'll start off with this stem and I'll cut it off just a little bit slightly under where it really began. And I'll move it in and I'll keep going. And where it hits this vein here, I'm going to stop because that's a line. That's going to be a white line. And to show this negative space, I'm going to go around it. And this vein continues all the way here where it stops. And I'll just attach it to this part of the leaf. So that's one shape here, and that's one shape that I'll colour in later on. And I'll just keep following that pattern. So you see that white line is never broken, it just keeps going. And they're a little bit like jigsaw puzzles. Because what will eventually happen with this ink outline is that I will erase it a little bit, and it'll just end up like a colouring in book. And as you can see, because I'm right-handed, I'm trying to only ever draw what I can see and leave the undrawn portions to the left of my hand. So it's not like I will draw here or else I won't be able to see what I'm drawing. I'll try and just slowly work to the left, and if that's not possible, I'll move the paper around. So this will be here. So I'll just keep following these veins. and I'll give myself plenty of leeway. So I've decided to keep this as one segment. I won't be showing these veins in there, so I've cut that off. So the way I'm trying to keep my hand is I'm trying to keep, of course, the strokes as controlled as possible while keeping what I'm drawing in my line of vision. And that's why I keep moving my hand around. This way and this way. I'm starting off with the things that appear on the left for me. Or at the bottom. And eventually, I want to turn this around. So then that becomes the left, and I can see all of that. Or this becomes the left, and I can finish this line right here. And that finishes there, that segment. There's one more here. And there's one more segment in here. And sometimes it is a little bit hard to keep track of where you are. It really is like moving through a map. But what you've got is your pencil outline, and that will be your guide. And if you don't like what's there or there's too much busyness there, then this is your chance to clarify that. So that's the first leaf done in the ink outline. And as you can see, there's this unbroken negative space in between, which shows where the veins and the ventricles of the leaf are. Only the major ones. I have tried to draw leaves with more veins, but it can be a little bit of a nightmare when you're using negative space. But I think when it comes to using the major veins of leaves, it's quite strategic and powerful and calming to do that in that way. So that's the first leaf done. And because it is on top, it's easy, you can prioritize it, you don't have to worry about things getting in the way. And now what I'll do is I'll actually ink the leaf underneath it. And in doing so, I'll also leave a little bit of a white border where the leaf underneath touches the top leaf to kind of show the precedence, the order in which the leaves are appearing. For example, here's this white border here. There will always be a bit of a white line. And here as well. And now you'll notice that I've also left this leaf largely blank. So then there are only a couple of leaves which have the veins. So it's nice to keep things a little bit mixed with different patterns, and also I'm a little bit lazy, so I don't have to fill that one out with white space. So this stalk is on top of the major stalk, so that can be an unbroken line. And I'll just check. The good thing about having this vine in front of me is I can check if the stalk actually ended here and I need to put a mark there. But because it didn't, because it just keeps going the full way, I will just actually keep going. I won't put a line there. So it's good to be able to cross-check with what you've got. And I'll end it just before here. And the rest of this leaf is quite simple. Just trace the outline. And where these two leaves are touching, leave a little bit of a white border, just so you can distinguish. Same with this one here, and I'll move it so I can see my left side. Just another white border. So this leaf is entirely standing by itself, and it's not actually touching the leaf on top in any way. And now I'll just finish the rest of the stalk here. So now that we've got these two largest leaves outlined in ink, this really forms the basis of the hard structure of the drawing. Eventually what I'll do is I will erase the pencil, and what I'll be left with is this beautifully clear, crisp line outline that will direct me on how to do the inking in. And that will lead to my favourite part of drawing, which is pretty much just like colouring in a colouring book, except that you did the outline yourself. And that is called inking in the drawing, which I'll discuss in the next video.